The fateful transport. The shuttle cut through the crimson sky of Vexia 9, its engines humming with suppressed power as it descended toward the detention facility. Inside the cockpit, Captain Marcus Reed studied the approaching compound with a practiced eye, noting the guard rotations and automated defense systems. His fingers tapped a restless rhythm against the controls, betraying the tension that his stoic expression concealed. Final approach to Detention Zone Delta, he reported into his comm. ETA 3 minutes. Acknowledged, Captain Reed, came the clipped response. Prisoner transfer protocols initiated. Remember your orders. Marcus's jaw tightened. Orders received and understood. The shuttle touched down on the landing pad with a gentle shudder. Through the viewport, Marcus could see the reception committee waiting, for Vexian soldiers, their armored exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh lights, flanking a smaller figure in restraints. Lyra Theron stood with her head held high despite the neural dampeners locked around her slender wrists. Her iridescent skin, normally a vibrant blue, had faded to a dull gray from weeks in captivity. The distinctive crest that ran from her forehead down her spine was flattened, a sign of distress among her people, the Novan. As Marcus descended the shuttle ramp, his military-issue boots echoing against the metal, Lyra's gaze locked onto him. Her eyes, pupilless orbs of liquid silver, narrowed with undisguised hatred. Human, the lead Vexian officer greeted him, mandibles clicking in their species' approximation of speech. The prisoner is prepared for transport as requested by your alliance. Marcus nodded, his expression revealing nothing. I'll take it from here. Be warned, the officer continued, this one has caused difficulties. The daughter of the Novan resistance leader has her parents' defiance. I'm authorized to use whatever means necessary to ensure compliant transport, Marcus replied coldly. The Vexian seemed satisfied with this response. Good hunting, human. Marcus approached Lyra, towering over her smaller frame. Without ceremony, he gripped her upper arm and guided her toward the shuttle. She resisted initially, her body going rigid, but a warning squeeze from his hand made her move forward. If you're going to kill me, just do it here, she hissed, her voice melodic despite the venom in her words. Silence, prisoner, Marcus responded loudly enough for the Vexians to hear, then added in a whisper, not here. Wait. Once inside the shuttle, he secured her to the passenger seat with additional restraints, performing the task with mechanical efficiency while the Vexian guards observed through the viewport. Only when the hatch sealed shut and the shuttle lifted off did Marcus's posture change, tension visibly easing from his shoulders. We're clear of immediate surveillance, he said, initiating the autopilot sequence. But don't get comfortable. They'll be monitoring our trajectory for the next 30 minutes. Lyra watched him warily. Where are you taking me? The execution grounds at Taraxis. Marcus removed his helmet, revealing a face younger than Lyra had expected. Dark hair cropped close to his scalp, eyes the color of Earth's oceans, and a scar that traced from his left temple to his jaw, evidence of close combat. If I wanted you dead, I would have left you with the Vexians, he said simply. The Alliance works with the Vexians now, Lyra countered. You're all the same, colonizers, exploiters. At least the Vexians are honest about their cruelty. Marcus's expression hardened. You don't know anything about me. I know enough about humans. Your kind abandoned my people when the Vexians invaded. The Great Alliance, preaching about freedom while making backroom deals with tyrants. Instead of responding, Marcus checked the navigation controls and adjusted their course slightly. We need to maintain the official transport route for another 20 minutes. After that, we go dark. Dark? Lyra's crest lifted slightly in surprise. Off the grid. Untraceable. Understanding dawned slowly on Lyra's face, followed quickly by suspicion. You're not taking me to an Alliance facility. No. Then where? To your father's resistance camp. Lyra went utterly still, her silver eyes widening. This is a trick. It's not, Marcus said, meeting her gaze steadily. But we need to focus on getting there alive first. The route isn't exactly a peaceful cruise through friendly territory. Before Lyra could respond, the shuttle's proximity alert blared. Marcus's hands flew over the controls, his training taking over. Patrol vessel, bearing 305, he announced, immediately dropping the shuttle lower to the planet's surface. They shouldn't be in this sector. The Vexians don't always follow their own patrol schedules, Lyra said, her survival instinct temporarily overriding her distrust. Especially if they're hunting something, or someone. Marcus gave her an appraising look. Sounds like you're familiar with their tactics. I wasn't always a prisoner. The shuttle dipped into a canyon, hugging the jagged rock walls as Marcus expertly maneuvered through the narrow space. Above them, the Vexian patrol vessel swept past, its sensors searching. Can they track us here? Lyra asked. Not easily. These canyons are rich in ferrous minerals that disrupt their scanning technology. It's why your resistance has been able to operate in this region. Lyra studied him with new interest. You know a lot about my people's strategies. I make it my business to know, Marcus replied, then tensed as the communications system crackled to life. Transport vessel THX 1138, this is Vexian Security Command. You have deviated from your authorized flight path. Return to designated coordinates immediately. Marcus glanced at Lyra, making a split-second decision. I need to respond or they'll send more patrols. Follow my lead. He activated the comm, security command, this is Captain Reed. Experiencing minor navigation system issues. Correcting course now. Acknowledged, transport. Be advised, failure to maintain proper course will be considered a security breach. Understood, command. Read out. He cut the transmission and immediately changed direction, diving deeper into the canyon network. That bought us maybe 10 minutes. Why are you doing this? Lyra demanded. Why risk your career, your life, for a Novan? Marcus was silent for a long moment, focusing on navigating the increasingly treacherous terrain. The shuttle skimmed over a river of molten rock, its heat shields activating automatically. Not all humans agree with the Alliance's policies, he finally said. Some of us believe the Novan-Vexian conflict should never have been classified as a regional dispute. Your people deserved our support. And you're just one human with a conscience. Lyra's tone remained skeptical. One of many. There's a network of us, Alliance personnel who feed information and resources to resistance movements across the sector. The Novans aren't the only ones fighting Vexian expansion. The proximity alert sounded again, more urgent this time. Marcus cursed under his breath. They're sending interceptors. We need to set down, now. He guided the shuttle toward a narrow opening in the canyon wall, barely visible among the shadows and rock formations. The craft shuddered as it squeezed through the gap, entering a hidden cavern large enough to conceal them. Emergency shutdown, Marcus ordered, and the shuttle's systems went dark, leaving only minimal life support active. In the dim emergency lighting, Lyra's skin regained some of its natural luminescence, casting a soft blue glow around them. The interceptors will pass overhead soon, Marcus explained, his voice lowered. The cavern's mineral composition should hide our energy signature, but sound can still carry. Lyra nodded her understanding, then pointed to her restraints. If we need to move quickly, these will slow us down. Marcus hesitated, then reached for the release mechanism on the neural dampeners. If you try anything. You're my best chance of survival right now, Lyra interrupted. I'm not going to jeopardize that. The dampeners fell away, and Lyra rubbed her wrists, relief evident in her expression as her natural bioelectric field reasserted itself. Her crest rose to its full height, pulsing faintly with bioenergetic activity. Thank you, she said quietly. The roar of Vexian interceptors filled the cavern as they passed overhead, so close that dust and small rocks shook loose from the ceiling. Marcus and Lyra remained perfectly still, their eyes meeting in the blue-tinged darkness. For the first time, something other than hatred or suspicion passed between them, a mutual recognition of their shared danger and tentative alliance. When the sound faded, Marcus moved to the shuttle's storage compartment and extracted a weathered rucksack. He tossed it to Lyra, who caught it reflexively. "Supplies," he explained. "Water, rations, basic medical kit. The shuttle's too recognizable, we'll continue on foot once it's dark." "The resistance camp is 3 days' journey from here," Lyra said, slinging the pack over her shoulder. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You know where we are? These caverns connect to a network my people have used for generations." A hint of pride entered her voice. "Before the Vexians came, this was Novan land. We know every passage, every hidden place." "Then I guess I'm not your executioner after all," Marcus said with the ghost of a smile. "I'm your escort." Lyra's expression remained guarded, but something in her posture had changed, the rigid stance of a prisoner giving way to the alertness of a survivor. "Don't congratulate yourself yet, human," she replied. "We still have to reach the camp alive. The Vexians won't be the only ones hunting us now. Your alliance doesn't tolerate deserters." Marcus checked his weapon, a grim acknowledgement of her words. "Then I guess we'd better not get caught." Outside, the crimson sky darkened to deep purple as Vexia 9's sun set, casting long shadows across the alien landscape. The real journey, and the true test of their unlikely partnership, was about to begin. Allies in the wilderness. Night had settled over Vexia 9, transforming the landscape into a tapestry of shadows and bioluminescent flora. Lyra led the way through the cavern network, her natural glow providing just enough light to navigate the treacherous passages. Behind her, Marcus moved with the disciplined silence of a soldier, his weapon ready but lowered. "The eastern passage branches ahead," Lyra whispered, pausing at a junction where 3 tunnels converged. "The left path is faster but runs close to a Vexian mining operation. The right is longer but safer." Marcus studied her face in the blue light. "You're the expert here. Which would you choose?" The question seemed to surprise her, a prisoner being asked for her opinion by her captor-turned-rescuer. "Left," she decided after a moment. "Speed matters more than caution now. The Alliance will have flagged you as AWOL by morning." They proceeded in silence for nearly an hour, the tunnel gradually widening until they emerged onto a ledge overlooking a vast underground cavern. Below them, massive Vexian machinery carved into the planet's crust, extracting the precious minerals that had made this world so valuable, and had cost the Novans their freedom. "Luminite," Lyra explained, gesturing to the glowing veins in the rock. "It powers everything from starship engines to neural networks. My people considered it sacred, the physical manifestation of our collective consciousness. The Vexians just see profit. The Alliance calls it a strategic resource," Marcus added with evident disgust. "Worth abandoning principles for." They skirted the edge of the mining operation, staying in the shadows. The Vexian workers, focused on their tasks, remained oblivious to the fugitives passing above them. Once clear of the mine, they found themselves in a narrow ravine that wound between towering rock formations. The twin moons of Vexia 9 cast enough light to navigate, but also exposed them to potential aerial surveillance. "We should rest soon," Marcus suggested, noting Lyra's increasingly labored breathing. "You're still recovering from the neural dampeners." Lyra bristled at the implication of weakness but didn't argue. "There's a shelter point 2 kilometers ahead, a cave system my people used as a safe house." When they reached the cave, Marcus secured the perimeter while Lyra activated a hidden mechanism that sealed the entrance with a natural-looking rock formation. "Novan biomechanics," she explained, seeing his interest. "We adapt the environment rather than forcing it to conform to our needs." Inside, the cave revealed evidence of previous occupants, simple sleeping pallets, water collection systems, and walls etched with Novan script. Marcus watched as Lyra traced the symbols with reverent fingers. "What does it say?" he asked. "Names. Dates. Those who passed through here during the early resistance." Her voice softened. Some of them were my childhood friends. Marcus unpacked their rations, offering Lyra a nutrient bar and a water container. You said your father leads the resistance. What was life like before the invasion? Lyra accepted the food, considering whether to answer such a personal question. Finally, she sat across from him, cross-legged on a sleeping pallet. We were scholars, mostly. Historians, scientists, artists. The Novan Collective specialized in biotechnology and environmental engineering. We traded knowledge throughout the sector. A bitter smile crossed her features. That's how the Vexians found us, through cultural exchange programs your alliance sponsored. Marcus winced. Not all humans approved of what followed. Yet here we are. Lyra studied him intently. You still haven't told me why you're really helping me. One human with a conscience doesn't explain the risk you're taking. Marcus was silent for a long moment, then slowly rolled up his sleeve, revealing a pattern of scars on his forearm, deliberately inflicted, forming a design similar to Novan script. Lyra's eyes widened. The blood oath of Kithra. How did you? 2 years ago, I was part of an Alliance peacekeeping mission on Novan territory, Marcus began, his voice low. Standard protocol, maintain neutrality, don't interfere with regional conflicts. My unit was stationed near a settlement called Meritus. I know it, Lyra said softly. It was destroyed. Marcus nodded grimly. We were ordered to stand down when Vexian forces surrounded it. They claimed they were performing a security operation against resistance fighters. His hands clenched into fists. It was a massacre. Civilians, children. We watched from our outpost, under direct orders not to intervene. But you did, Lyra guessed, her gaze drawn to the scars. Too late for most. I broke ranks, took a shuttle, evacuated who I could. A Novan elder, she looked like she could have been your grandmother, pulled me from the burning settlement when part of it collapsed. She saved my life, then performed this ritual. He touched the scars. She said I was bound to her people now, that our fates were intertwined. Tessek Theron, Lyra whispered. My grandmother. Their eyes met across the dimly lit cave, a connection forming that transcended their species' difference. She died 2 months later, Lyra continued. But before she did, she told us about the human who defied his commanders. Some of us didn't believe her. The Alliance court-martialed me, Marcus said. Reduced my rank, assigned me to prisoner transport, the military equivalent of exile. But it put me in position to access intelligence, to help where I could. He paused. When I saw your name on the transport order, I knew it wasn't coincidence. The distant sound of a Vexian patrol ship broke the moment. Both tensed, listening as the craft passed overhead. We should move at first light, Marcus said, checking his weapon's charge. The resistance camp, how will they receive a human? With suspicion, Lyra admitted. But the blood oath will give you some protection, and my word counts for something. She hesitated. If we make it there at all. We will, Marcus assured her with more confidence than he felt. They took turns keeping watch through the night, the uneasy alliance between them gradually shifting into something closer to trust. When dawn approached, they prepared to move out, gathering their supplies in efficient silence. Just as they were about to unseal the cave entrance, Lyra froze, her crest rising in alarm. What is it? Marcus whispered, instantly alert. Vibrations in the ground, she replied, placing her palm against the cave floor. Heavy vehicles. Military grade. Her silver eyes met his. Too many for a standard patrol. Marcus cursed softly. They're sweeping the area. How did they track us? They might not have, Lyra suggested. This could be a standard response to your defection, lock down all potential escape routes. Options? Lyra considered for a moment. There's another way out, an underground river passage. It's dangerous, especially during the wet season, but it bypasses the main patrol routes. Lead the way, Marcus said without hesitation. Lyra guided him deeper into the cave system, down narrow passages that grew increasingly damp. The sound of rushing water grew louder until they emerged into a larger chamber where an underground river surged through an opening barely large enough for a person to pass. We'll need to swim through, Lyra explained, already removing her heavier gear. The current is strong but the passage is short, maybe 20 meters. It emerges in a hidden grotto on the other side of the ridge. Marcus eyed the churning water dubiously. Any other nasty surprises I should know about? Just the usual, submerged rocks, potential cave-ins, the occasional carnivorous aquatic life. Lyra's tone was light, but her expression remained serious. I'll go first. Before Marcus could protest, she dove into the water with practiced grace, her lithe form immediately caught by the current and swept toward the narrow opening. Marcus quickly secured their essential gear in waterproof pouches from his pack and followed. The force of the current was more powerful than he had anticipated, pulling him under and through the passage like a projectile. Sharp rocks scraped against his shoulders and back as he fought to maintain orientation. His lungs burned, vision narrowing as the oxygen deprivation set in. Just as panic began to rise, a blue-tinged hand grabbed his arm, pulling him upward. They broke the surface in a sun-dappled grotto, gasping for air. Lyra's grip remained firm on Marcus's arm as she helped him toward a rocky shore. You didn't mention the current was quite that strong, he managed between breaths. You didn't ask for specifics, she countered, a ghost of a smile playing at her lips. Besides, would you have gone if I'd told you? Probably, he admitted, checking that their gear had survived the journey. But I might have held my breath longer. Outside the grotto, the landscape changed dramatically, dense vegetation in shades of purple and blue, thriving despite the Vexian occupation. Lyra moved through it with intuitive ease, her body seeming to blend with the environment in a way Marcus couldn't hope to match despite his training. We're entering the wildlands, she explained as they paused to rest. The Vexians avoid this region, something in the plant life interferes with their exoskeleton's neural connections. Convenient, Marcus observed. Not coincidence, Lyra corrected. My ancestors engineered these forests specifically as a defense against invasive species. The Vexians aren't the first to covet our world. They traveled through the day, making good progress despite the challenging terrain. By dusk, Lyra assured him, they would reach the outer perimeter of the resistance camp. But as the larger of Vexia 9's twin moons rose, a new threat appeared on their sensors, Alliance dropships. They've deployed ground forces, Marcus said grimly, studying the readings on his tactical display. Special ops, judging by the deployment pattern. They're not just looking for us, they're hunting. Why would they commit such resources to one deserter? Lyra questioned. Marcus's expression darkened. Not for me. For you. The Alliance has been downplaying the Novan Resistance's effectiveness in official reports. Your father's successes are becoming impossible to ignore, and your capture was meant to be a turning point, leverage against him. And you ruined their plan, Lyra concluded. They can't let you succeed. A flash of light on the horizon caught their attention, a flare, followed by weapons fire. The resistance camp was under attack. No, Lyra whispered, her crest flattening in distress. They found them. Marcus made a quick decision. We need to split up. I'll create a diversion, draw their fire. You can use the confusion to reach your people. That's suicide, Lyra protested. They'll kill you on sight. Better me than your father's entire resistance cell, he countered. This was always a one-way mission for me, Lyra. I knew that when I took the assignment. Lyra stepped closer, her silver eyes intense. My grandmother didn't save you just so you could throw your life away. She placed her palm against his chest, over his heart. There's another way. Do you trust me? Marcus covered her hand with his own. Yes. Then hold on. Lyra's crest illuminated with brilliant blue energy that spread across her skin in intricate patterns. The same energy began to envelop Marcus, connecting them in a network of light that pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats. The sensation was unlike anything he had experienced, a merging of consciousness, of purpose. Together, they moved toward the embattled camp, no longer predator and prey, captor and captive, human and alien, but something new, allies forged in adversity, bound by a shared vision of justice that transcended the boundaries their societies had created. As they crested the final ridge overlooking the battlefield, they stood side by side, silhouetted against the crimson sky of Vexia, 9, the unlikely savior and the one he had refused to condemn, ready to face whatever came next, together.